Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of the Greek New Testament, and I've been reading 1 Corinthians. This is Paul, the first letter of Paul that we have to the Corinthians. Of course, scholars believe that there was an earlier letter to the Corinthians which hasn't survived, and this really, in some sense, is the second letter of Paul to the Corinthians, but it's the first one that it's the only one that we have starting off. So we continue on hologos ga hotus steru tois men apolumenois moria estin. Tois desoidzomenois hemin dunamis theou estin. Gegraptai ga apollo ten sophian ton sophon kai ten sunesin ton sun eton artheteso. Pu sophos, pu grammatius, pu tsutsetetes, tu ionos tutu. Uki emoranen hothios ten sophian tu cosmu, epede ga ente sophia tu theou, uk egno hokosmos dia tes sophias ton theon, eudoke san hothios dia tes morias tu kerugmatos, sosai tus pistuontas. And I might just pause it there. So for the word, the logos, for the word of the cross is moria. Now this is an abstract first declension feminine noun. You get moros, which is unfortunately cognate with our word moron. It means a foolish person, and then from that we get the abstract feminine noun moria, foolishness, and we're also going to get a verb down here, morino, which we'll come to in a moment, but all from the same root here. So for the word of the cross is moria, foolishness, tois, and we get a tois men and tois de. On the one hand, to those who are perishing, participle from apolumi, but on the other hand, to you who are being saved, this is a passive, dative, plural, passive infinitive from sozo, esti it is, dunamis, the power of God. Gegraptai ga, and now we have, so for it has been written, this is a perfect passive here from Grapho. The quotation is from Isaiah 24:14, and it's from the Septuagint, so the editor here has put it in bold print. Apollo, now this is a future from apolumi. We had the participle just in the previous verse. Original apolesso, the sigma drops out and then the epsilon contracts with the omega. This happens typically with these liquid verbs ending in a lambda, mu, nu, or rho. So I will destroy the Sophia, and the wisdom could also mean cleverness. Sophia can have both positive and negative connotations. It can mean wisdom in a nice sense, or it can mean Sophia, cleverness in perhaps a negative sense. So I will destroy the wisdom tone sophone. This is from sophos, wise, and being used as a noun here, of the wise men. So I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, and artheteso from artheteo. Now it's made up from an alpha privative, and the thet root here is connected with tithemi. It's the root of tithemi. So it has the sense of to set aside, and then a slightly stronger sense in the Septuagint, to nullify. So I will nullify, I will set aside, I will nullify the sun esin. This is a third declension feminine noun, sun esis. It's connected with the verb, comes from the verb sun hiemi, which is I understand. Sun hiemi has the sense of to put things together, and hence to understand them. And so the abstract noun here, sun esis, means understanding. And this is from sun etos, in the same way this is from sophos. these are the people who understand things. So I will nullify the understanding of perhaps the educated almost here, those who have understanding. So just to quickly do that again, for it has been written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, and I will nullify the understanding of the educated, of those who understand. Then we get these rhetorical questions. Paul likes to do this in his letters. So, Pou Sophos, where is wisdom? Where is a grammateus, the scribe? Now, this is more than just a copyist. The grammateus was actually a scholar in their own right at this time. So when it uses the word scribe, you'll see it in the Gospels as well, but it has more sense than just someone who copies things out. So where is the wise man? Where is the wise man, not wisdom? Where is the wise man? Where is the scribe? Where is the tsutetetes? Now this is connected with the verb sutsatio, which is to dispute or to debate. And so this is the disputer or debater. It's come from satio, to seek, and then sun, together. So it's the idea of people sitting down and trying together to seek the truth, and they do it by disputing each other's views and debating, and then hence you get this first declension masculine noun, sutsetes, I should say, meaning a debater or disputer. So where is the disputer of this age? Uki emoranen hothios ten sophian to cosmu. Now we get a question here with uki, expecting the answer no. The verb here is morino with an iota, and this is the aorist, so you get a vowel gradation plus augment. Morino is to make foolish. It's a causative use here, which is slightly Hebraic. Surely God has not. Did not God make foolish the wisdom of the world? Answer being yes. Epedega ente sophia to theou. But for when, now this is slightly tricky, I think, this bit here. I'll just do it literally. For when in the wisdom of God the world did not understand or did not know God through wisdom, God found it pleasing to save those believing, participle here, this is an aorist infinitive from sozo, to save those believing through the foolishness to kerugmatos. From kerugma, this is genitive. The kerugma is a technical term in New Testament meaning, and in early Christian studies, meaning the received doctrine, so the church teaching. So just to go through that again, the ente sophia to theou, it is literally in the wisdom of God. You might paraphrase it by saying it was a wise act of God that the world did not perhaps understand rather than know, but could be come to know God through wisdom. God was pleased to, and so you could say God elected to save those believing through the foolishness of the church teaching, of the received teaching. Paul, of course, had a pretty bad time at Athens, and he met many of these very clever and wise people in Athens, and they were not particularly interested in his message. So Paul tends to have this slightly anti-intellectual attitude from time to time, probably based on that unpleasant experience he had in Athens. And perhaps he's thinking about this here as he's dictating it. Epede kai iudaioi semea aitusin kai Helenes Sophian setusin Hemes de kerusomen Christon estauromenon, Iudaios men scandalon ethnesen demorian, autos de tois kletois, Iudaios to kai helesin, Christon theou dunamen kai theou Sophian, hoti homeron to theou sophoteron ton anthroponestin kai to asthenes to theou iskuroteron ton anthropon. For since the Iudaioi, the Jews, that is the Jewish, here I think the Jewish people, I to sin ask for semeia, neuter plural, signs, and Greeks, plural from Hellene, third declension, and Greeks say to sin seek Sophian, wisdom. Again, he's probably thinking of Athens here. We are proclaiming the Messiah having been crucified. This is a perfect passive participle from stauro. And then we get a men and de. On the one hand, a stumbling block, a scandalon. We get our modern word scandal, of course, cognate with this. It means a stumbling block. It's something that you trip over, that you fall over. So a stumbling block to the Jews and foolishness to the Gentiles. But to the ones called, now we had this passive adjective before from Kallio, to the ones having been called or invited, both to Jews and to Greeks, dative plural from the Hellene, third declension. Now this is in the accusative, which is slightly odd. So it's probably in that after the verb kerusso. So he's gone off on, as he often does, he's gone off on tangents here, but the main verb was kerusomen, and so we're getting an object of this down here. He's repeating the Christon there down to here. So we proclaim Christ as the dunamen, the power of God and the wisdom of God. Hoti top moron to theou, because the, now this is yet another word for foolishness. It's a neuter noun this time, tomoron. Probably no difference between it and Maria, the abstract. So because the foolishness of God is sophoteron, comparative from sophos, more wise, and then we get a genitive of comparison, more wise than human beings, than men, and to asthenes, and the weakness of God is skuroteron, is stronger than that of mankind, that of men. So just minor points here. When you've got the ending is oteron, but if the previous syllable is short, which this has got a previous vowel is short, so we've got a short ot here, then you get oteron in the comparative. On the other hand, in here you'll see that we've got iskuros, that upsilon is a long vowel, and so we get a short vowel in the oteron ending. So it's a good example of this rule of grammar with the comparative. So if you've got a short before, that's long. If you've got a long before, that's short. Asthenes, this is the weakness. It's taking an adjective, third declension adjective, asthenes. It's taking the neuter of that, asthenes, and then putting an article with it and making it into a noun. So just to quickly do that bit there. So because the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than that of men, or perhaps than men. Blepete ga ten klesin hemon adelphoi, hoti u poloi sophoi katasaka, u poloi dunatoi, u poloi eugenes, ala ta mora tu cosmu, exelexato hothios, hina katai skune tu sophus, kaita asthene tu cosmu, exelexato hothios, hina kat iskune ta iskura, kaita agene tu cosmu, kai ta ex u thenemena, ex elexata hotheos, ta me onta, hina ta onta kat argese. That continues on the next page. Paul has very long sentences, and sometimes he loses track of his own thoughts with these, but here he says, for blepete, so this is this is an imperative. So look at to this is klesis, it's a third declension feminine noun, again formed from kaleo, meaning your vocation or calling. Greek often takes verbal roots and turns them into third declension nouns, feminine, and makes them into abstract ideas. So for look to your calling, brethren, or your vocation, because not many understand are, sophoi, wise, katasaka, this is a Hebraism really, according to the flesh, so in body, so many are not wise in themselves, perhaps, and not many are dunatoi, not many are powerful, not many are eugenes, this is nominative plural from eugenes with an eta, it's a third declension adjective meaning well born. So not many of you are nobly born or well born. Now here again we get the neuter plural. This we've had moron before, now we get the neuter plural. But the foolishness of the world, but God, ex elexata, this is from eklegamai, it's that leg, there are two leg roots in Greek. One is connected with lego, I say, and the other one is cognate with our word select, via Latin, meaning to choose, and this is in the middle. So it's eklegamai, so this is the aorist middle here. So for God, but God chose the foolish things of the world, hina, in order that, kataskune, subjunctive from katai in order that he, or perhaps katai I think here is it, in order that he might bring shame on to Sophos the wise, and he repeats this again, hotheos ex elexita, God chose, ta asthene, and I mentioned before this is the asthenes, it's alpha privative with this stenos, meaning without strength and hence weak. And then he's turned it into a noun here, this is a third declension, neuter plural ending, original epsilon alpha contracts to eta. So God chose the weak things of the world in order that he might bring shame upon ta iskura, the strong things. Again, they're just taking adjectives, putting on the article and making them into nouns. And the same here, kai to argene. Now argene is, well, it's not without birth, but it's the opposite of eugenes, so it means the lowly born. So the lowly born things of the world, God chose. So God chose the lowly born things of the world and the things which are ex euthenemena. This is a fascinating verb here. It's from ek. The uth is like uden, euthen for uden, and they've made it into a verb. So it's ex euthenio, and then it's in the perfect passive, I think, here. And in the neuter. So it means the things which are thought nothing of, things which are regarded as naught, the things which are despised. So just to put that together there, God chose the low-born of the world and the things which are despised, tome onta. Well, literally the things which are nothing, which do not exist. So the non-existent things, hina, in order that, katagese, this is from kat argio, The arg here is an alpha and then an epsilon, which has disappeared. So it's those things which do not work. So and this is the verb here. So in order that he might nullify or make unefficacious the things which do exist. So just to quickly go back over that bit there. So God chose the weak of the world in order that he might put to shame the strong things, and the lowly born things, it's neuter plural, of the world, and the things which are counted as nothing, God chose. The things which do not exist, the non-existent things, in order that he might make inefficacious or nullify the things which do exist. And then the last little section here, Hopos kai me kalkes setai passa sax enopion to theou exu humas esti en Christo Jesu hos egenethe Sophia humin apotheou dikai sune te kai hagiasmos kai apolutrosis hina kathos gegraptai hop kalkomenos en kurio kalkasto. So he's done all that so that, now this is a Hebraism here, this passa sax with may, it's literally not each flesh, not all flesh might boast. And that's a Hebraic way of saying that no person, no human being might boast, subjunctive from kalkaamai. It's the middle, so this is a subjunctive here, aorist subjunctive from kalkaamai, if you're looking it up, before God. Ex autu, again the grammar, the vocabulary is a little bit tricky here, it means from him, literally. So as a result of him, also you are, este, second person plural from the verb to be, you are in Christ, in the Messiah, Jesus, who, now this is, this is an aorist passive here from ginomai, so was made. So who was made, the Sophia, the wisdom of God, heimin, for us, and the righteousness and the hagiasmos and the holiness and the apolutrosis and the redemption, the redemption from apolutrosis, the redemption. Now verse 31, the first part of the sentence here is incomplete. He begins that in order that as it is written, then he gives the quotation, but he doesn't finish it off. So this is one of these typical things in Paul where he starts saying something and then seems to change tack. It may be that there's no textual evidence for it, but this may be a later interpolation or something, because it doesn't actually fit in terribly well with what was before, although it does pick up on the verb kalkaamai. So so it's literally in order that as it has been written, hot kalkomenos, participle from kalkaamai, the one boasting, and then we get a third person singular imperative middle from that, the one boasting, let him boast in the Lord. The quotation is a paraphrase from Jeremiah 9:23-24, and he does repeat this expression in 2 Corinthians 10:17. So that's the end of chapter 1.